The San Francisco 49ers have added an edge rusher. Leonard Floyd has signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the 49ers. Let's talk about it. Welcome, everybody. Let's go, Niners. My name is Jason Aponte. I'm Jason Aponte. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. Free agency is in full effect today. We've seen some wild swings, and a lot of people were wondering what the 49ers were going to do today, especially after the news yesterday of Eric Armstead being cut. I implied that it was going to be about an edge rusher. I think a lot of people were on that, and I think a lot of people had smart money on that. And obviously, the names that are out there, Daniil Hunter, I don't think they were ever going to be putting down the money that Bryce Huff was about to get. But now we have news that Leonard Floyd, who played in Buffalo last season, has signed a 2-year, $20 million deal. I believe the first year is guaranteed. And honestly, when you look at the production from last season, when you look at the production and you see what he was able to do in Buffalo, this actually translates to something where Floyd and a rotation of guys are going to be there, and he's been very productive. So I just want to go through his numbers from last season, according to PFF. On 389 pass rushing snaps, he had 41 total pressures, 12 sacks, 7 quarterback hits, 22 hurries, 13 tackles, and 1 batted pass. So when you look at it, it's absolutely a situational pass rusher, somebody who they've been chasing with D Ford. They've been chasing with him the entire time trying to find somebody. I like it. And I think a lot of people were just expecting Daniil Hunter right off the bat. Well, Daniil Hunter still hasn't signed at all either. I think this would probably preclude them from not going and getting him, I think, at this point. But I don't think that the method to their madness right now is so bad. I think what you're doing now is you're setting yourself up for a rotation, right? Floyd, Jackson, perhaps there's going to be guys that are going to be around that are veterans that'll be added as the rotation, but they still have to plug up defensive tackle and figure out what they're going to do with Eric Armstead. I would suspect DJ Jones. I actually looked at Quentin Jefferson as somebody who could be a starter from the Jets and be there as a rotational guy. It probably means Javon Kinlaw comes back, but Nick Bosa and then Javon Hargrave, whoever you find for defensive tackle, it looks like it's going to be a rotation for both spots at this point. So right now, if you want to overreact because you wanted a better name, okay, like I can dig it. But at this point, it's probably going to come down to value and production. And when you have someone in 18 or 17 games that ends up with 12 sacks, I think that's great. And I also think that it doesn't stop them from being in the market in the draft trying to get someone as an edge and a developmental guy, right? Or like somebody that they can bring along, add to the rotation. I think the Drake Jackson thing has played out the way that it has, and I think the 49ers understand it might not be the like right away just give it to Drake Jackson and let him develop. I don't think we saw the steps that we were looking for. I don't think the team saw the steps that they were looking for. So they were always going to add edge, and they still have a lot of work to do when you look at how many defensive linemen are on the roster. I think this makes it 6 now. But when you look at the value of the contract, 2 years, 20 million, I'm sure there's going to be incentives in there when we get the full details and everything as well. But Leonard Floyd was very productive last year for the Buffalo Bills, especially if he's going to be a situational pass rusher. I have no problem with this deal. I think it's good. He's a veteran. He's someone that'll come in and step right in. But I think, again, all of this stuff we knew was going to be addressed, at least in free agency, and it still gives the 49ers flexibility now to do whatever they want. I still think you're thinking about a trade up in the first round. Could be for an offensive lineman, could be for best player available. They can do whatever they want. Today, we found out that Fred Warner had his contract restructured to open up some more money for the 49ers. I don't suspect that they're done. And again, this is just ultimate flexibility in terms of going into free agency, going into the draft, and trying to figure out what is the best method to retooling and rebuilding this team. You know, you look around and you see the Eagles today, Bryce Huff and Saquon Barkley, and you look at Green Bay, Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs, which I think that was an overpay, 4 years, 48 million. That's a lot. But the teams are catching up. Doesn't mean the gap's closed, but it's closing and other teams are coming. So the 49ers still have to be in a spot where they're still improving their team because everyone else is chasing them. So I have no problem with this deal, right? I think it's great. I think, again, it's a veteran edge who has been very productive. And I think that the 49ers are still setting themselves up with the amount of money that they have, with the amount of draft capital that they have to either do one of three things, if not all, which is splurge a little in free agency, have a trade up because you don't all those picks, which is 10 now, if I'm not mistaken, and extend Brandon Ayuk. So I think you're still in a good spot when it comes to all those things. And we still are waiting on what's going to happen with Kyle Juszczyk. Is he going to be restructured? Is he going to be added? So again, this is just if you're looking at Leonard Floyd to be the guy that was in his 20s, I think you're not viewing this through the lens that you should be, because he's still a very solid edge rusher. And I think, again, once again, when you're talking about the rotation and the way this team can build, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Again, especially as a situational pass rusher, I think there's no issue with this. But if you're expecting someone to be whatever it is that he was when he was younger, I think right now that's probably the wrong way to look at things. So almost 6 minutes in, and we got 780 people in here. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. And I think this is the right way to look at it. Keeping the Faith says Floyd is a solid value, but he can't be the only move. And I don't think he is. I don't think he is. I think it's a very solid move, but I don't think he's the only move. And I think this is correct, because if this is the only move, then you're a little bit more nervous in terms of what are they building, what are they cooking. But right now, if this is going to be one move in accordance with drafting a high-end edge or adding another vet, then that's fine. But I agree with this. I agree with this sentiment wholeheartedly. I love the value. I think he's very productive, but it can't just be this. It just can't be this. So I think that's absolutely true. And I think that's the right way to view this. Again, when you're looking at it, everyone was kind of enamored with the idea. And I talked about this yesterday. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, is this possible? But you can't sit around and wait for those things. And you still have to stock on depth, right? And it's kind of what we were talking about in terms of just because guys aren't injured, just because guys aren't hurt, you still have to stockpile the cabinet. And I think Leonard Floyd is perfect. I think he fits perfectly. Again, veteran guy, knows what it takes to be on winning teams. He's on the Rams, he's on Buffalo. I think this is fine. But again, it can't just be this move and nothing else. And I think that is 100% true. Peyton says, does this rule out Cleveland Farrell? I don't think so. I think based on the injury and everything as well too, and a lot of people will look at Cleveland Farrell and say, well, he wasn't all that good. I think a lot of us, we missed him a little bit when he left and what he brought to the team. So I think they can get him back, and I don't think it has to be anything crazy. I think for sure that Javon Kinlaw comes back. I would bet that it's a very good chance that Farrell comes back. And again, you need that sort of depth. I think Kevin Givens is somebody that'll be back as well too. So they've got guys that they can bring back that have been productive. All of this has to be in a rotation. All of this has to be it just has to be viewed the correct way with context. If you're thinking that Leonard Floyd is going to be this game record game changer at 33, he's probably not. But he's very much a productive guy on situational passing downs. He should be great. They should still have a rotation, and they still leave themselves open to going to get a defensive lineman in the first round or those types of things. So I'm not necessarily as down on the idea about Cleveland Farrell. You still need to stockpile the defensive line. So yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't mean that the team is out on drafting an edge. I think the only way that you would look at it is if they were out on drafting an edge is if they gave Daniil Hunter like a substantial deal, which he's still out there. So we'll see. We'll see a little bit. Let's see. Jake agrees, man. We're drafting an edge, trade up and go get Jared Verse. You can do that. You have all those compensatory picks. You even got one for Charlie Warner today, 49ers legend, which I'm not as worried about, if anybody is. I don't think anybody's really that worried about it. VL Walker says, what about Avonte Maddox? I think he's great. He can play inside, outside. Again, there's going to be a lot of those guys, and this is the advice that I would give people during free agency, especially during this first wave, is there's going to be a lot of talented guys left on the board still, and they're going to be around, floating around. So again, just because we're not seeing motion right now doesn't mean that there aren't impactful moves in terms of contextualizing it properly. Hey, it's a rotational guy. Hey, this is a guy that's a vet. There's definitely people that are there and will be there down the line. So yeah, for sure, 100%. Let's see. Jay Cruz says oldest team in the league gets older. I mean, can't argue with that. Definitely can't argue with that. Leonard Floyd is 33 at this point. Marquez likes the move as and why are you guys doing this? Like, why are you guys doing this? Would you sign Jimmy G quarterback too? You know what, man? I think that ship sailed, and I don't think he'd ever want to come play here again. But let's go down Leonard Floyd's production in other years. As I said, this year, 389 pass rushing snaps, 41 total pressures, 12 sacks, 7 hits, 22 hurries, right? So now let's look down the rest of his time in LA. 54 total pressures on 481 snaps, 9 sacks, 12 hits. His sacks have gone up. He had 12 sacks in 2021, 58 pressures on 518 snaps. So think about that. 389 pass rushing snaps, 12 sacks, 518 snaps in 2021, 12 sacks. That's extremely efficient. And to me, that just screams a guy that is now just being asked to get out there and rush the passer. No need to worry about other things in that. Oh, he's 31. Oh, even better. I'm sorry, guys. He's 31. So there, I'm sorry, I jumped the gun on that. Sorry about that. Yeah, he's 31. That's even better. So it's not as dire as it sounds. I don't know where I got 33 from. Thank you guys for correcting me. But 31, and like when you're thinking about it, and you're looking at the way he's situationally rushing the passer, it's better because now he takes snaps off, right? Like you don't have to use him in run defense. You want to use him in these obvious passing situations. And the 49ers have been chasing it. They drafted Dre Jackson. They traded for Chase Young. They've been trying to chase that running mate outside of Nick Bosa. And they've been chasing it since D Ford left, honestly. I know we like to make a lot of jokes and everything, about, or just get mad about, hey, this is how much money he made. But it's true. So like I think again, thank you guys for being smarter than me. He's 31, not 33. Appreciate you guys. Over 1,000 people in here, 11 minutes in. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell for when we go live. I definitely suspect that the 49ers will be adding other edge guys that are veterans, later on, right? I think we're not putting ourselves out of that position. But if you think the 49ers are not going to address it in the first round or possibly, in this draft, I think that's not true either. I think they have to at this point, especially when you look at how many linemen they have under contract alone. So I would take this move as one of many moves. It's not the final move and it's not the only move. So I think if you're viewing it that way and you believe that's what's going to happen, then obviously I wouldn't view this as something that's very good, but it's going to be a rotation. It's going to be a part of a rotation and it's going to be added on with other veterans and they're going to bring guys back. So I think, again, it has to be viewed properly. It has to be contextualized properly because otherwise, if you're believing that it's just going to be the Leonard Floyd show over against Nick Bosa, I don't think that's how the 49ers view this. I think, again, on third down, obvious passing situations on second down, go get the quarterback. That's where Leonard Floyd is going to shine, if anything at all. So shout out to all you guys in here, man. I know you guys are, wanted to discuss this because this is the first 49ers move, aside from obviously bringing back Brandon Allen, which is so important. It's so important. I mean, couldn't believe it when Ian Rappaport said, what a strong presence in the quarterback room. Like, come on. Like, seriously, like, come on. But yeah, again, the 49ers look to address things in free agency to keep themselves flexible in the draft, but I don't think this takes them away from going after a defensive edge, an edge guy that can be impactful right away. And I think based on the last two drafts, when it comes to how the 49ers have gotten guys and they've been either a year away or their developmental project, they do need guys that I think need to step in right now and be impactful and play for cheap. You can't. This is not a draft for them to do 3-4 picks of like, oh, well, next year we can redshirt him next year. No. This year has to be very much wherever you go, whether it's corner, whether it's lineman, whether it goes defensive lineman, whatever it is, you need much more guys to like jump in right away and help. And I think that the team knows that. And I think, again, that's why when you have all these comp picks and you are at 31, you don't want to sit around and wait because guys don't fall to you at 31. You have a chance to make a move up. And I think whether that's offensive line or defensive edge, it just keeps them in a good flexible spot. So I'm going to keep this one short because sprint right option is tonight at 8:15. Me and Andrew will break everything down. But I just wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about this because I do want to explain to people that I believe this is one of many moves. This isn't just an end-all be-all for Leonard Floyd and no one else. This is actually going to be something that is in accordance with other moves, and you should see some more action in terms of edge. Whether, did Kyle Juszczyk just decline his pay cut? I don't know. So again, we'll talk about that at 8:15. But shout out to all you guys in here. Over 1,000. This is my first time that over having 1,000 people, almost 1,200 people in here. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Sprint Right Option Podcast tonight. We're gonna break it all down. Me and Andrew Pasquini. Shout out to all you guys for tuning in throughout the day. I know you guys are busy, right? It's 2:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 East Coast, 2:30 on the West Coast. Goodness gracious, and 5:30 on the East Coast. Shout out to all you guys, and we'll see you tonight with Sprint Right Option. Have a great rest of your day and enjoy the rest of free agency. Today's going to be a lot of fun. Welcome, everybody. Let's go Niners. My name is Jason Aponte.